What's going on, team? It's your boy G, and today we are going to be covering Creed 3, man, the battle for LA, dog. This movie was freaking incredible, bro. Like, I need to go see it again. I'm not gonna cap to you. Before we get too deep into it, man, my main question going into this movie was, will Michael B. Jordan basically be able to hold his own with no Rocky and the addition of Johnathan Majors? Like, you lose one heavy hitter for another one, but this time the pressure is all on you. And on top of that, it's his directorial debut. So they had a lot to prove in this movie, and they definitely went crazy. Now, for me, this is one of the best sports films I've ever seen. The IMAX definitely hits different. They said they actually recorded with IMAX cameras, and you can actually tell because, for one, they went all out for the fight scenes, from the slow-mos to the close-ups to just how crispy that joint was. It was insane, bro. And then on top of that, you had anime references throughout the movie. To me, the most prominent one was definitely the Dragon Ball Z Goku Vegeta punch. Like, same time, same impact. It was crazy. Like, definitely some Hajime no Ippo and even some Baki stuff. Like, so there was some mixed martial arts mixed in, but with the sport of boxing already being, you know, sort of poetic when you kind of slow it down, and then you add the story of not only just Donnie but Dame to this movie, it was a perfect way to end this trilogy and run off into the boxing world sunset, bro, because this joint was amazing. But those are my initial thoughts, man. Let's get into the character breakdown. Alright, y'all. First things first, man. Adonis Creed, aka Donnie, aka Hollywood Creed. That boy Michael B. Jordan went crazy in this joint. Like, we actually got to see Donnie go from a little kid, if you going back all the way to Creed 1, essentially, to being, you know, on the come up, to being the one, and now at the end of his career at the beginning of this movie. And we've seen a lot of different sides of him. We saw him as a father, which was a little bit more new because, like, you know, in the second movie, that was when his kid was first born. But now Amara running around acting just like her daddy, knocking little kids out. But we also got to see him as a husband and a son and a brother. But most importantly, we got to see him as a fighter because, you know, at the end of the day, this is Creed, and that man was scrapping. But I definitely gained a new respect for Michael B. Jordan as an actor, because before, a lot of stuff that he was in, you know, it was hard to get past the celebrity, you know what I'm saying, versus now where, you know, I think it happened with Without Remorse, for me, is when things started to switch, where I feel like he's actually starting to embody these characters. And I think his performance as Adonis or Donnie is definitely his best one and the one he's had the most time with, so it only makes sense that it would get better throughout. But then you tie in Johnathan Majors, who is on a run. Let's be real. Like, you gotta come with it. You know what I'm saying? So super shout out to Michael B. Jordan. Next, we gotta talk Johnathan Majors as Dame, bro, who was so entertaining, from just the bravado to the grit that we saw and the hunger of somebody that's, you know, fighting for his life, you know, essentially, because during the flashbacks, right, we got to see, like, yo, he was the next one up, right? And then for that all to get taken away so early, it had to have hit different. So for me, I think that Johnathan Majors did an excellent job at portraying that. Now, one thing I thought would have been a little bit better was the Cali accent. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you how many times that man said bro throughout the movie, but the actual characteristics and the person, he got that down packed. So amazing antagonist. And he just keeps expanding the range, bro. Next, we gotta talk Bianca, or Tessa Thompson, in this movie, because for me, she showed so much patience and empathy throughout this movie to whoever she was engaging with, whether it was Donnie or Dame, because for one, she's still already battling with her own issues with her progressive hearing loss, and then, you know, her having her career that she always wanted. You know, she got signed in the last movie, but now she's out here performing at all these festivals and things like that, and had to take a step back to just producing, and seeing how, like, for her, even though she's starting to give up the things that she loves, she's still able to enjoy, you know, what she's created, whether it's her singing it or somebody else. And while she was having those intimate and intense conversations with both Dame and Donnie, we saw Donnie kind of embrace it and really internalize it, because at the end of the day, all our problems are relative, right? But for Dame was just like, I hear you, but I'm not feeling that at all. Like, I need to take what's mine. Like, this is my shot type beat. And when you see somebody live your life, especially it being your own man's, he not rolling, bro. He wasn't rolling with that joint. He's ready to fight for everything. So for her to be able to bring out that contrast, and for us to be able to recognize that throughout the movie, was special, bro. And definitely some of my favorite moments throughout the movie, because she's one of my favorite people in this movie. Like, like straight up. The next person I wanted to talk about in this movie was Coach Duke, man. Coach Duke, Wood Harris, bro. This dude is a freaking legend, and it's crazy, like, not how many movies he can sneak into, because he's been with the Creed franchise from the beginning, but in this movie he got a bigger role, and he was great. Because usually he was more of like a comedic relief, but also he was always there to challenge Donnie, you know what I'm saying, keep him grounded, keep him humble throughout, and he did exactly what he needed to do in this movie. Now granted, when it came to the final fight and what we're accustomed to in Creed with Rocky being Donnie's coach, and for Rocky to not even be in this movie, he definitely held his own. You know what I'm saying? He got his own lines in there that he'll be remembered by. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Wood Harris, bro, because he's a GOAT for sure. He's definitely up there, bro. But next I gotta talk about Mama Creed, aka Felicia Rashad, because I was hurt that she had to go out like that, because in the movie, like, somebody was gonna have to bite the bullet, right? Like, at the end of the day. And it sucks that it had to be her, even though I think the moment called for it, just because it pushed Donnie that much more. And in the moment of like her actual passing in the movie, I like gained so much more respect for Michael B. Jordan's performance and hers, because like just watching that was just very, very difficult, because she was going from seeing Donnie to seeing Apollo, and it was just rough to watch something like that, and she's done a phenomenal job throughout the whole franchise, but at the end of the day, it just sucks to see her go. You know what I'm saying? Lastly, before we get into the plot and pacing of this movie, we gotta talk about the kids. So that is Jay Mixon played young Creed, and Spencer Moore II played young Dame. Now Spencer Moore been on a little run, bro. He's in everything, and I gotta tip my hat to him, because I just, he's an acting machine. But both of them did an excellent job setting up this movie, because literally from the beginning and throughout the final fight, they were perfect contrast to help us really understand how Donnie and Dane feel, not only just fighting each other, but as kids that have gone through things, right? And because they were cutting back and forth between flashbacks to in fight to mid fight breakdowns to like, making this thing really feel like I'm watching an anime, bro. Like it was giving Naruto and Sasuke vibes. If you know. But I don't know, bro. Like, it really just got me really invested in the universe as a whole, because it really helped bring the story full circle. And then you combine that with Amara Creed, played by Mila Davis Kent. Her performance was amazing as well, because with Bianca, having progressive hearing loss, and that being potentially hereditary, and both her and Donnie learning sign language brings us into a whole new world in this movie, where the sign language is everywhere, and Amara's spirit is so infectious, because everywhere she's going, she's smiling, except when she punched that little girl for ripping her drawing up, which was warranted, because like, who are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get to do that. But seeing the small moments between her and Donnie, and her actually, having a taken to fighting, was a really cool thing to see, because they really accounted for everything in this movie, and the characters grew with us. They never stood stagnant. So overall, the kids did amazing, bro, and the cast went crazy. So that's all I got for the character breakdown, man. Let's get into the plot. All right, y'all. So if you haven't noticed by now, bro, I really like this movie. Now, the pacing and the actual plot of this movie is, where I start to have a little bit of issues. Not much, but for one, let's just get the first one out the way. There's no Rocky in this movie. No mention, no cameo, no picture, no nothing. And that is because of drama. Now, I'm not going to get into that drama here, but it just sucks that happened, right? Of course. Now, I think the way that they built the plot, it didn't necessarily need Rocky to be in it, but it just feels weird, especially after watching 1 and 2 and just seeing how important Donnie's relationship with Rocky is, for him to go into his final fight and Rocky not be there, or for him to, come out of retirement and not have a conversation with him. It's just weird. If you never seen the first 2 movies, you would have never known. But that's just one thing we got to get out the way. Now, I think they really, built this story from the ground up, because they didn't leave anything to chance. Like I said earlier, like every little nugget, from the use of sign language to from Dame saying baby Creed, to Donnie knowing that would get under her skin because of what happened in the first movie. It's so good, bro. It's so good. And even though, like, from the beginning of the movie, from the trailer, I never really had a question for what the plot was going to be. To me, the story and the characters made it so engaging that the only thing that really mattered was how we got there. Like, And then you combine that with Donnie, Dame, and Bianca's story arcs, because they kind of reference different stages of life, from retirement to redemption to preservation, like all fighting different fights, but all trying to get to that same resolution of finding peace in the work that you do. And being not only forgiving, but also like giving yourself grace for things that happened in the past, especially in Donnie and Dame's case, who were kids, right? Because there was so much baggage that they're still even unpacking in this movie, that you can't really account for everything being your fault. You know what I'm saying? So that was super cool. I think Dame's plot reveal was the coolest to me because I just wasn't expecting it, and he was really running the play from the moment he got out. He did it what he needed to do, bro. And it sucks that Drago's hand had to pay the price for that moment, but once we got that picture reveal, it made it that much greater, bro. Because I was just like, oh my gosh, brother, he planned this from the beginning. That is crazy. Now, what he promised, cuz, to do that, I don't know, but they all got that bag now, so I guess it's all good, because he got what he wanted. He became champ, you know what I'm saying, even though it was for only one match. But it is what it is. His name is still in the history books, bro. And then as far as like the pacing for the movie, I think it was pretty much perfect for the lot of time that we were in the theaters, because even though this was like a 2-hour something movie, like it didn't really feel like that. And then the fight, bro, was just like chef's kiss, bro. Like I love that joint. But other than that, like they tied up all the loose ends that you wanted, if we're sticking to this movie specifically, discounting all the Rocky stuff. So other than that, like I don't really have no real issues with this joint, bro. This joint was just like that. I'm trying to tell y'all, bro. But let's get into my final thoughts, bro. All right, y'all. So overall, I think this movie was elite, bro. But is it the best Creed movie? No, it's not. It's a close second, though. It's a close second, because the first movie, like, I just was not expecting Cuz to lose, and that made it like that much greater, because like even though you lose, you still showed who you are. But in this movie, there was so much growth, so many things that you could take away from this movie, whether you're just watching it as just a regular fan, or athlete, or father, or son, like, or just a brother to a friend, or whatever. It was a great freaking watch, bro. And then cameos is also what got me, because being able to see all the fighters from the previous Creed movies make a comeback was cool. Even the Drago training arc was dope, because like they all have a certain level of respect for each other, because in this universe, like, and I say universe because it is one, bruh. It is one. Donnie is like the Mayweather of boxing at this point. At least that's how he's portrayed, right? So being able to see all these epic comebacks and these epic fights was just amazing, bro. It was amazing. And I love all the different like analogies that were brought to life, because it really felt like I was watching anime. Like the only thing that was missing was the inner monologue and the talk no juices at the end. Like that was the only thing missing, especially in the final fight. And then I talk about how crispy that freaking camera was, bro. Like IMAX go stupid. But other than that, the music went crazy. Seeing Bianca be the walk-in music for Creed in the end was freaking dope, bro. Like who else but Bianca, right? Like who else but Donnie? Like that was super dope. And then being able to hear Nipsey Hussle for Dame was super dope. I got super hyped for that, because y'all know I love Nip. But the venues, bruh, in Dodger Stadium, like I wasn't really expecting that. I'm not a super boxing fan, so I won't say a lot of this stuff is new for me, but it's just a really cool thing to see, especially in theaters. Now, rewatchability, bro. Like I could definitely rewatch this movie, and all of them, like, and I'm talking Creed 1, 2, and 3, because the message behind the stories, the training arcs, like, it's all just really packaged really well. And I think the only question left is, where do we go from here? Because if you ask me, I think you ended here off on a great note and an epic movie. But if we look at the amount of Rocky movies there were, who knows what might happen. As far as a G5 score for this movie, I definitely gotta give it a 10 out of 10. First 10 out of 10 of the year, because I mean y'all heard my review, bro. Like I love this movie, bro. There's so many things that I could just keep on going. And if you want to hear more of what I got to say about this movie in a longer form conversation, definitely check out the podcast this week with Chris, because we definitely went in, and Chris had some spicy takes that I definitely think were worth listening to. But that's gonna do it for me in this movie. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more. I'm holla at y'all next video, man. Y'all be easy, the vibes. Always keep growing. So you gonna see boy G. I'm gone.